Hello and welcome to episode 160 of the How to Survive podcast. And no, it's not a dream. We really are for the next 9 sets of 10 weeks covering every film in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Kicking off, of course, with the 1984 original, directed by Wes Craven, starring Heather Langenkamp?
Yeah, either's acceptable because I don't know.
Okay. Joining me as ever is my knowledgeable co-host, Joe Chevel.
Yeah, hi. Looking forward to talking about the life and times of Fredwood Krueger.
Yeah, as he was christened.
Yeah. Fredwood? Frederick.
Frederick.
Is he Frederick?
I don't know. Fred Krueger.
They say
They
Fred.
call him Fred.
No one says Freddy in the movie.
No, exactly.
It's like a cheeky name that they've given him, like Charlie Manson.
Cheeky.
Yeah.
Cheeky Charlie Manson.
Cheeky Charlie Manson.
So you might be thinking, but wait, guys. A Nightmare on Elm Street? You've already covered that. And the remake. You're right. But it was nearly 3 years ago now. In fact, it might well have been 3 years ago.
It's going to be 3 years on the 30th of September.
Right.
So I think
Very
when this
nearly
goes out, it'll be about a week.
Something like that. So, yeah, we have covered it before. We're going to cover it again. We're not going to do a exhaustive dissection like we did in the first time round.
Go back and listen to that if you really want to hear it.
Yeah, I think episode 7 was it?
That's right, yeah.
And
I remember asking you in episode 7. When I say I remember, I mean I listened to it earlier.
Yeah.
But in that I asked you, did you think we'd make it to episode 7? And now it's, did you think we'd make it to episode 160?
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy times. Thanks for being with us for this journey.
Do you think anyone's listened to all 160?
What, as they came out?
Yeah.
No.
Have you?
Well, only by virtue of being here.
Yeah. When
they're recorded.
Yeah.
It's sort of a necessity, unfortunately.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I've tried to plug my ears a few times. But,
yeah, exactly. So yes, we have covered it before. We've covered the remake before, but we're going to do it all again. And maybe we'll pick up on new things, have some new insights from the intervening 152 weeks of watching a horror movie every week.
Our tastes have changed a bit, I think, in the last 3 years, probably.
Yes, that's probably true.
You when it started, you wouldn't have voted for Brexit or campaigned for
Donald
men's
Trump
rights.
Yeah.
But now,
and you're a vegan.
That's right.
And I'll leave it up to the listeners to decide which one of those is more annoying. Before you wouldn't have been on the side of Freddy Krueger when you watched the films. No, exactly. Yeah, and now I'm very much an advocate for him.
Yeah.
So yes, A Nightmare on Elm Street, the 1984 classic. That's the film we're covering. If you haven't seen A Nightmare on Elm Street, you've had a sweet 34 years.
Yeah.
To seek it out,
and 3 years as like a forewarning.
Yeah, exactly. That we would sometime get back round to it. So now is your chance to duck out, seek it out. It is worth watching. It is a classic. It's an 80s horror classic.
Yes.
And
not least because every 10 weeks for the next 90, we're going to be doing another one in this series.
Yeah, so 1 in every 10 episodes for the next 2 years is going to be a Nightmare on Elm Street film. How do you feel?
I hope they put a new one out in the next 2 years.
Yeah. Do you think they will?
I don't know.
It's quite a swift turnaround, it would have to be, wouldn't it? I know that Jason Blum, I think, has expressed interest.
Of course he has.
Because he wants to own the rights to literally every horror franchise. Yes. So without further ado, let's move on to the trailer for 1984, Wes Craven's A Nightmare on Elm Street.
And what would you expect from the trailer?
It's just a dream. No, it's a nightmare.
The kids of Elm Street don't know it yet, but something is coming to get them.
There's something out there, isn't there?
We just see cuts happen.
What did that, Lieutenant?
I don't know.
What's the coroner got to say? He's in the jar and puking since he saw it.
They're gonna kill me for sure.
Did you do it?
There was somebody else there.
He was locked in a room with a girl who went in alive and came out in a rubber bag.
No one knows where it came from or who it will visit next.
Nancy? There's something wrong with you. You're imagining things.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Do you believe in the boogeyman?
No.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
So the recap on the original it was like our 7th episode, so we were still starting out, and the recap was pretty painful to listen back to.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Just because it was so long?
It's
Exhausting.
so long.
Right. Who is reading?
Me. My recaps used to be like pages and pages long.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was exhaustive, and we chat about the recaps during it, but now it's just like get it over with.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah.
So without further ado, in Springwood, in America, small town in America, suburban.
Which state's that in?
I don't know. Do you know?
No.
I'm going to say North. I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
Right in
North
HowToSurviveShow.
Alhambra.
Do you want me to look it up?
I don't think it matters. I think it's made up, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a fictional
Small town
place.
USA.
Fictional Springwood, USA. A group of high school students are stalked by a spectral presence in their nightmares.
Right.
15-year-old Tina Gray is
15.
Yeah, exactly.
Ridiculous.
Right. She's the one who has the worst nightmares.
Right.
And at a sleepover around Tina's house, she is attacked in a dream, in a nightmare, and she is brutally murdered by a man that we will later come to know fondly as Fred Krueger.
Yeah.
Tina's boyfriend Rod Lane is accused of her murder because
He was in the room
and ends up soaked in her blood.
Yeah.
But as the audience, it's apparent that he's not responsible because she's flying over the ceiling and erupting from invisible wounds.
Yeah, and he's just going, Tina, Tina, Tina,
Yeah, but
Tina.
but Tina's friends Nancy and Glenn find him in the room with her body, or know that he was in the room when she was murdered, and so he gets the blame and is arrested by police.
But I think they were on his side, though, aren't they? Despite finding him, with the smoking gun, so to speak.
Yes, exactly. I think that's the issue there, really. The next day at school, Nancy falls asleep in class, and she, in turn, is stalked by Fred Krueger and sees visions of Tina in a body bag, which is quite disturbing. When she's chased into a boiler room by Freddy Krueger, she burns her arm on a pipe, and then when she wakes from her nightmare in her classroom again, she has the burn mark from within her dream, so that we know that things that happen in the dream world are permanent.
I mean, I picked that up when the other woman got eviscerated.
Yes, correct. At home, Nancy falls asleep in the bathtub and once again is nearly killed by Freddy, but she wakes up, manages to pull herself out of the bath just in time. She confides with Glenn and Rod, who is now in prison, about the man stalking her dreams. And Rod is swiftly killed by Fred Krueger as well. Again, in what appears to be a shared dream of sorts.
A shared dream.
Yeah,
We've all had
or
'em.
Nancy is dreaming that she's watching Fred kill.
I think that's the case, because he doesn't die. We'll come to the dream logic later.
Yes,
Right?
okay. Rod is dead.
Yeah.
It's just Nancy and Glenn now, really. Once again, she's attacked, this time when she's in a dream clinic, which is a thing.
Yeah.
Because she hasn't been sleeping in order to not dream.
Yeah. What did your dream clinician think of the movie?
What, my clinician in my dreams?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. When she wakes up this time, she's grabbed Freddy's hat and pulled it out of the dream world into the real world. And this disturbs her mother for some reason, which we will find out now. Marge, who is her mother, bars all the windows and doors of the house and becomes increasingly paranoid, turning to drink. And when drunk, she admits that Fred Krueger was a high school janitor who murdered a number of children in the Springwood area.
20.
It's a lot. And so the parents rounded him up in a boiler room where he used to take the children, set fire to it, and he burned to death inside.
Bit of vigilante justice.
Yes.
Because there was a failed court thing, right? They tried to convict him, but he got off on a technicality.
Yes, someone signed a piece of paper in the wrong place. And because of that,
Right.
20 children go
Without justice.
Yeah. Apart from the vigilante justice, as you mentioned. Nancy realises that Freddie wants revenge for his murder and tries to warn Glenn, but Glenn has fallen asleep in bed and is sucked into his bed and then sprayed out as blood all over his room in a sort of fountain.
It's a good shot.
It's a very good shot, yeah.
Cool thing.
Yeah. Nancy resolves to drag Freddy Krueger out of the dream so that he can be arrested in the real world.
Because her dad's the head of the police.
Yes. So she sets an alarm, goes to sleep, manages to grab him just as her alarm goes off and pulls him successfully into the real world, where she tries, I guess, to have him arrested, but is basically like running away from him and then decides to set him on fire with gasoline. And so he burns to death once again.
Yeah.
Her father comes home and is confused. He was one of the vigilantes who killed Freddy.
Yeah. Despite being the sheriff.
Yeah, and upstairs in the house, we see that Freddy is about to attack Nancy once again, but Nancy is no longer scared of Freddy, and as he swings his razor claws towards her, he falls through her and into some sort of dream abyss, never to be seen again, I'm sure.
It's like if in Doctor Who, in the 70s, when someone got shot by a Dalek,
yeah.
They turn into like a static,
white or whatever on the screen, realizing that she's now safe forevermore. Nancy,
you're missing a part where he killed the mum because he was burning alive. And he climbs on the bed, and the mum and Freddy melt into the bed into another dream abyss.
Yes, yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah, but it's fine, Joe, because Nancy now wakes up the next morning. Her mother's alive, and so are all of her friends, and everything's great. They get in Glenn's sweet new ride.
Yeah.
But suddenly, the convertible roof launches over them to reveal that it's a Fred Krueger mobile. And it drives off without them being in control. And meanwhile, Marge is waving at them happily from the doorstep when Freddy Krueger appears behind her and drags her into the house to presumably murder her. And that's how the film ends.
But what the problem with that ending, right? Is it's quite a good ending.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, was it all a dream?
Yeah,
well, is it all a dream?
This is the classic cinematic trope of dreams and realities blending into one another. So it's a lot like Inception. The ending to Inception.
I was about to say the same thing, right? Spoilers for Inception. There's a question mark over the film.
Yeah.
There's a question mark over the film about whether people are dreaming or not, right?
Yeah,
in Inception,
exactly.
But there's not really that question over this film as clearly as that.
No, because the dream logic of Nightmare on Elm Street is more outlandish than something like Inception, because you have things like Freddy's arms stretching to the width of an entire road.
Yeah.
And he appears behind her a lot and all that sort of thing. But despite all that, what I find amusing is that Freddy doesn't really seem to be in control of it, in that he can still fall down a flight of stairs in a hapless, clumsy way.
But that's in the real world.
No. Well, yeah, okay. So that example is in the real world, but things happen to Freddy which
are out of his control,
right?
Despite the world being a land of his creation.
Yeah, they fall out of the upstairs window of the house, right, into a rose bush. Because when she then wakes up, she's covered in
thorn,
rose petals.
Yeah.
So there's things that appear to be able to happen to Freddy, so maybe we'll get into all that about that dream logic stuff.
I think just a reminder, in the episode 7, when we did it back then, it became kind of annoying that we were like, "But is that a dream? What is a dream?" So I'm just gonna
annoying us.
I'm gonna moderate that.
Okay.
So if it gets too abstract and conceptual, I will make this noise. Stop it.
Okay. So. The main question, though, Joe, of course, is: did you enjoy the film?
Yeah. I did. It was quite fun, isn't it?
It is good. It's very good, isn't it?
It's just like a good horror film. Like it's satisfying. It's got peril, mild peril, teenage problems.
Mm-hmm.
It's pitched perfectly at both a teenage and an adult audience. I think
Right.
there's a line where she's like, "Oh, I haven't slept in days. I look like I'm 20." Which is like, it's funny if you're a teenager because you'd be like, "Oh, I'd hate to be 20."
Yeah.
But when you're older than 20, you're like, "Come on."
Yeah. Can you see why it's considered a classic?
Yeah, it's like it's not just a good horror film. I think I'm borrowing this from Mark Kermode, where he said this of it. It's not a horror film. It's a surrealist piece of art, basically. Right?
Okay.
It's like the tongue coming through a telephone isn't out of any other horror film.
No.
It's just a bizarre thing to happen, which is like hugely unsettling.
Yeah.
It's like more in line with a Dali painting than a typical slasher film. But it's immensely worrying when it happens.
Yes. I think that is true.
Yeah.
I think there's some amazing imagery in it, like the tongue in the telephone, the long arms, as I mentioned before, the sort of endless stretching corridors.
Yeah.
Because that is something that sort of I think a lot of people will recognise from their own dreams as well. You know, that sort of feeling of an endless corridor.
Yeah, like nothing really. Like there's something that's not quite right about everything.
Yeah. Everything's slightly off. But then the more overt horror imagery is really good as well. So like the friend in the body bag who gets like dragged off by an invisible person. There's a bit where Freddy slices open his own chest, and there's like
green
maggots.
blood and maggots.
Yeah, that's really just like grisly, you know, rubbery stuff. I particularly like when she gets dragged into the bath and there's just like a black hole, like a void underneath her bath. And it's like, I think what's disturbing about it is the idea that she could just get sucked into that and then like the bath seals up and she's just in pitch black underwater for forever, you know, which is pretty disturbing. Also nice to see Lin Shaye popping up from Insidious as Tina's teacher.
Yeah, she's not got her trademark gas mask and
a microphone or whatever.
Grenade. The fuck was she doing in that film?
What is it?
She's
is it like a flash gun attached to a gas mask or something mad like that?
The gas mask is attached to a pair of headphones.
Right, that's correct. Yeah.
God
of course.
Almighty.
You mentioned how funny it is.
Yeah.
I think some of it is very funny to me, but possibly unintentionally. I think the whole film has a level of camp.
Yeah.
But there's one scene which I'm sure I mentioned in the original podcast as well, in the dream clinic.
Yeah.
Where Marge says to the doctor, she says, "What the hell are dreams anyway?" And the doctor says, "Mysteries, incredible body hocus pocus. Truth is, we still don't know what they are or where they come from. As for nightmares," and then in the script it says, "leans closer." "Did you know that in the last 3 years, 20 Filipino refugees in California died in the middle of nightmares? Not from heart attacks either. They just died." And then the script note says, he gives a, "I don't know," shrug. Marge looks out into the sleeping room. Nancy is a motionless bundle in the middle of the bed. It's just like the least resolved section of script. It's just him going, "What are dreams?" And he goes, "Don't know really." And then they just look out at the girl.
It's more like, "What are dreams? I don't know. A bunch of people died the other day."
So do you think there are more than one like dream serial killers?
So
what's your dream serial killer?
This is based on in my wider reading, I learned that Wes Craven based this on a thing he'd heard about a refugee camp. They weren't Filipino, I can't remember which country, maybe Laos, something like that.
Okay.
But they essentially were dying in their sleep, and it was thought to be a result of PTSD.
Okay.
But they were just dying from immense stress.
Yeah.
From escaping a war zone or whatever it might be. But that was, he read that and thought, that would make a great idea for a teen horror film.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. I just like that bit of the script. It makes me laugh.
Yeah. Can I just say as well, a part that made me laugh is the fact that there's something poetic about Johnny Depp playing a teenage boy who listens to music while watching Miss Nude America with the sound off, because who cares what they have to say? That is like,
Yeah.
You can imagine him doing that now.
Yeah, that's true. Have you read that GQ interview with Johnny Depp? It's
the Rolling
mad.
Stone one.
The Rolling Stone one. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. He's basically Donald Trump, but if Donald Trump had long hair and was skinny.
Yes, basically.
And
He's
wasn't president.
Maniac. So we're going to be covering Nightmare on Elm Street for another 8 films after this.
Can't wait.
Yeah. What do you know about the franchise going into it?
So in my notes, I just wrote that I know Wes Craven returns for one film, which I think is the 5th. It's the new Nightmare.
Yeah, right. That's the other one that I know a bit about.
Yeah.
And that's because it's like the most. It's like meta, and Wes Craven is in it, as is Heather Langenkamp.
Yeah,
and they play themselves.
It's like the effect the movie had on them, and then Freddy Krueger starts haunting them.
Yeah, like he becomes real through their own.
Yeah, like at that point, I think Wes Craven had gone full Scream, full like movies about movies.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting to read his life story now that a bit more has come out about it. I think because he went from being an academic, like studying films, to being a filmmaker.
Okay.
And that's why all of his films are about like exposing tropes and.
Right. Yeah. So that, including The Hills Have Eyes.
Yes. The Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
He started making porn, like a horrible porn, apparently, X-rated, like real hardcore stuff.
Okay.
Because it paid well.
Right.
And he didn't want his family to find out that he was making porn. So he decided to make a movie like
called Last House on the Left.
Yeah, right. And
he features like,
but he made that on like because he just wanted to make something that wasn't porn.
Right.
But he didn't want his family to see it.
So he made like a horrible rape fantasy.
Yeah. But then he didn't think anyone would see it. But it got picked up and became really popular. And then like his whole family ostracized him.
Right. I mean, that's quite sad that his family ostracized him.
Yeah.
But it's odd that someone would go, "Oh, this porn that I'm making isn't wholesome enough to tell my family about."
Let's
make Last House on the Left,
which is a non-consensual.
Like how desensitized was he from the porn that he made?
Yeah, it's mad.
That is disturbing indeed.
From my research for next week's movie, which is Alien 3.
Yes.
Spoilers for
next
week's movie is. That had a troubled production process.
Yes.
And I am told that Rennie Harlin, who was at some point on board to direct Alien 3, who didn't direct it in the end, he was hired off the back of the success of Nightmare on Elm Street 4, which is considered to be the best one and cost 7 times more to make than the first movie.
I think, I don't know that much,
But when I say it's the best one, I mean commercially.
Oh, commercially, right. Yeah. I think I don't know much factually about the series at all, but sort of through osmosis, I guess, I believe it to be the case that, like all horror franchises, it gets worse as it goes along. But as you said, it gets increasingly meta as well. Yeah. And so I think, doesn't Freddy start sort of talking to the audience and stuff?
Right.
And I think presumably it gets gorier, more lurid, more outrageous, and probably less effective as it goes on.
No, I think so. I think what I'm hoping for is that they keep the surreal notes. Like you could take the blood-filled room as a painting and be like, this is upsetting to look at, and what does it make you feel? What's it about? Yeah. More than say like a typical death in a Friday the 13th movie, for example, which is just someone gets stabbed.
Because this is like a slasher film, but it's not what you would typically consider it, because the deaths are much more outlandish.
Exactly.
I think that's part of where the pleasure as a horror fan comes from.
Yeah. I like the fact that Freddy Krueger in this film was something of a bogeyman.
Yeah.
He's not, you don't know much about him. It's like an urban legend. Like, there's a guy who kills children and he'll get you in your dreams. That's essentially all the character building, right? Yeah. And he's got very limited screen time. I think 7 minutes total for the movie. Okay. Considering he's, gone on to be a pop cultural icon, that's quite surprising. Yeah. But there's little characterization of him other than, I'm gonna get you. Right? Yeah. I mean, that's all he needs. He's scary enough on the basis that he kills children, has knives for fingers, and he can haunt you in your dreams, right?
Yeah, he doesn't need the backstory, does he?
But we'll get that.
I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure we will get that. Forced down us. Do you think my fear with it is that it's going to change in a sort of tonal way?
Yeah, because when we covered the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, my big problem with it was that they'd taken him from being a child killer to being a child molester.
Yeah, and we should say there's, I guess, some kind of implicit sort of paedophilia style implications.
Yeah.
I mean, Freddy Krueger, just because he's someone who kidnaps children.
Right. Serial killers generally do that. This is based on Mindhunter, which I watched like recently.
Okay.
So it seems that serial killing is generally a sexual act in some way.
Yes. Yeah.
But when they made Nightmare on Elm Street, they were deliberate in making him a child killer.
Yes, he's very pointedly described as a child killer rather than a paedophile or anything like that.
And that is important, I think, because like we've said before, and I don't think we need to labour it now. We'll labour it again if it comes up.
Yeah, but, I'm sure it will.
There's an important distinction between child killing and child sexual abuse.
Yes.
In as much as you can say, like, a horror movie about a murderer is scarier than a horror movie about a child molester, because that's upsetting and inappropriate in a way that a horror movie shouldn't be. Yes.
For whatever reason, cinema has come to terms with people dying on screen.
Yeah.
And has developed a language in some way to do it in a tasteful manner, or like if you can palatable, or like a schlocky enough way that it can be enjoyable, as we see in a lot of horror movies.
Well, we all die, right? That's
right.
And
but you can't do that with people raping children.
No, that is not possible.
Yes, that is not a thing that could ever happen.
And that's the problem with Nightmare on Elm Street remake, is Jackie Haley's version of Freddy Krueger was a child molester.
Yes.
And the problem that went through that movie was there's a, did he do it, didn't he do it? And you're like, oh, actually, maybe he's the victim in this.
Yeah, he's been framed, and then no wonder he's so vengeful, because he's been framed for these horrible acts that he maybe didn't commit.
Yeah.
And then, oh no, he did do it.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yes.
Is that you are led to feel sympathy for a child rapist in a slasher movie.
Yeah,
right?
Called A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, we've spoken a lot about him. What do we know about Freddy in sort of survival terms, I'm thinking? Because we're going to be coming up against him a lot in the next couple of years, Joe.
9 times. He seems to be able to keep you trapped as long as you're dreaming, and he can do what he wants with you. And I mean, like you said, he might fall down the stairs or fall out a window, but at the end of the day, you're still playing on his turf.
Are you, though? Do you know what I mean? Is there like a shared, like, geographical dream space?
Right.
Like Insidious, for example.
Okay.
In which, like, the further, is that what they called it?
The astral plane.
The astral plane has a sort of sense of geography, because people have to travel from a certain place to another place.
Yeah.
Does the same thing happen in Nightmare on Elm Street?
I don't think so, because...
But are you in Freddy's dream?
No, he's in your dream.
So it's whenever you dream, he invades your dream.
Yeah.
So when she's seeing him threatening to kill Rod,
You're right.
Is he just taunting her?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Right.
That's how I see it, because he is pretending to like cut Rod up.
Yeah.
But when he does kill Rod, it's sometime later when Nancy's awake.
Yeah, and he hangs him. Yeah.
That's right.
In his cell. Yeah.
So what I don't get with that, right? This is a problem I've got with the interaction with the real world. So I understand, and this is another rule to deal with him. Mm-hmm. If you get hurt in dream world, you get hurt in the same way in real world. Same way as the Matrix.
Yes.
The mind can't live without the body.
Yeah.
Or the body can't live without the mind, however you put it, right? But in the dream, right, when Rod dies, Freddy's manipulating the bedsheet, not Rod.
Yes, that's true. But is he sort of... yeah, no, you're right. So is the bedsheet dreaming?
It must be. That's the only logical conclusion.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Or Freddy can reach through...
Yeah, but so that's true, actually, because you would think that what would happen in reality is that he would just stop breathing or his
Yeah.
neck would break. But then Tina flies around the ceiling and we assume that she's in some way, being lifted around, right?
Yeah. Thrown around the room a bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense, mate. But nothing else in Tina's room is being thrown around.
No. What about when, when Glenn gets sucked into the bed, his TV goes in with him.
Yeah.
So
That's because he's got his earphones in.
Yeah, but his earphones aren't, in the dream. His earphones don't.
So the reason he gets sucked into the bed,
Yeah,
and he's got his earphone. The TV's on his lap.
What I'm saying is that I understand if he slashes someone in the dream world,
Right.
the slash appears on their skin.
Yeah,
that doesn't explain how he can create a portal underneath Glenn's bed.
Yeah.
And physically drag his
Right.
whole body into it, including the TV.
Right. Agent Smith can punch you in the face, and it might break your nose in both the Matrix and the real world.
Yeah,
But he can't reach through to the real world and be like,
and pull your flies down. or
yeah, exactly.
whatever,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why would he want to?
I don't know. He's a crazy guy. Tell you who else is crazy, Joe? Freddy.
Yeah.
Psychotic, you might say.
Yeah.
What do you think of his handcrafted razor gloves?
I don't know. What's your criteria for judging it?
Well, why? When one razor would do the job.
I don't think he doesn't want a clean kill. He wants to scare people, doesn't he?
Right. So he's when he's making the things, he's creating them. Are they something that he had in the real world?
Yeah, when he's making them at the beginning, he's human.
Right. So that's a flashback.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
It's like preemptive. It's like before the events of the movie were even.
Yeah. A twinkle in Freddy's eye.
Yeah.
Do you think as the series progresses, we're going to uncover a reason why his spirit lingers in the same way we sort of got in Jason Part 9, whatever it was called?
What was that? Like he's a.
He had like a mutated, like weird alien bug thing inside of him.
Right, yeah. the fuck was that about?
It's Jason Goes to Hell, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got a black slug in him.
Yeah.
Which can possess other people.
Yeah. God,
Mate,
do you think anything as mental is going to happen in this?
I know. I'll save the spoilers. I know there's a thing about Freddy which makes him evil, but I don't know if that means there's no reason that would make him able to infect dreams.
Right. Okay.
I have no idea, basically.
Okay.
It'll probably be for Nightmare on Elm Street Part 7, and it'd be like Freddy's with Satan, and he's like, I'll make you a deal, man.
Right. Yeah, I see what you mean. Like he comes back because a demon grants him the powers to do evil or whatever. Yeah. But of course he can be beaten. Well, can he be beaten by you not being afraid of him?
This is the thing. So it seems that Nancy comes to some realization, which is Freddy is powered by cognitive energy, ideally fear, and if you don't give that over to him, he's powerless.
Okay.
But the problem with that is the next beat is only joking.
Yeah. Oh, we're not. We're still in the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows, basically. What rules do you think are apparent going forward in the franchise from this first film?
I think we need to be prepared for the fact that at any time it could be revealed to be a dream. And that's either going to be with someone going, waking up in bed, or an inanimate object in the room will have a clawed hand burst out of it.
Or a tongue or whatever.
Right. And you'll be like, right, okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, as we said, what happens in the dream world affects reality. We're not clear on the mechanics of that.
Yeah. At a minimum, you can pull Freddy and his clothing through with you.
Yeah.
But that's all that appears to be pulled through.
Yes.
Maybe from flowers, petals?
Yeah, well, it's like detritus from the dream, right?
Yeah.
So how does this just not happen in the course of normal dreams?
Next question.
Also, the lines between dream and reality can become indistinguishable.
The tireder you get, I think. You don't know.
That makes sense, yeah, because your guard is lowered.
Yeah. I think Freddy is exceptionally clumsy. Like, even when he was alive in the real world, he must have been just like a complete prat.
Yeah, because he like falls over banister rails and downstairs and things like that. And it's an odd juxtaposition with his
sleek manipulation of the dream world, where he's like, don't turn around, or you'll like fall into a hole I've put there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an odd one.
Maybe he's not used to having a physical body, and he's like, like jelly legs, treading on like light bulbs and stuff.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he cut the bit where he grows his arms really long.
Yeah.
It's like he's not actually in control of that. That's not what he wanted to do at that point. It's just like, well, I'm just gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah.
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 Do you know what I've just realised, by the way?
Mm.
One of the 9 films? One of the 9 films that we have to watch is Freddy vs. Jason.
Again? Wait, we've done that. We've done the remake.
Yeah.
So we've got to watch that
So
again.
you've watched a third of the series already.
Are we rewatching them?
Maybe we'll do it as a little bonus.
Oh, Freddy vs. Jason's horrible.
Yeah, it is. It's really bad. Really, really bad. Right. We've already covered this, really. I mean, this is basically just a setup episode, isn't it?
Yeah, for
Let's
the
be honest.
franchise.
Yeah, because I'm it's whet my appetite. I'm looking forward to what's next.
So we had an email in from Chelsea in Texas. She's emailed before. So, hey, Chelsea.
Hello.
The email is titled "Everything You Never Asked to Know About Nightmare on Elm Street."
Okay. Right.
I'll abridge it. It's quite long, so I'm going to do an abridged version.
Okay.
Hey, fellas. Great pick on the new franchise, Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, thanks, Chelsea. You are right. We are great. She recommends a documentary called Never Sleep Again.
Yes. No, I've heard about this. It's like, is it a mini series or like just a single?
I don't know. She says it's 4 hours long.
Okay.
So I will not be watching that anytime soon. But in the next 90 weeks, maybe we'll fit it in between our hectic schedules of watching mediocre films. Anyway, she says the plot of the movie was inspired by true events. Wes had read a series of articles. Oh, this sounds familiar. About teenagers.
Where did you do your research?
In a US refugee camp who died mysteriously in their sleep. In the days before their deaths, the boys had been complaining of terrible nightmares. The CDC suggested it was possible they'd been frightened to death due to PTSD and vivid memories of the Laotian suicide. Laotian genocide they'd witnessed.
What is in Vietnam? Is that Laos? Is in LAOS?
LAOTI.
Laotian.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know. Everything about Freddy's character design is intentional. He's named after a kid who bullied Wes as a child.
That's so harsh.
Yeah, make you a child killer. Yeah.
God.
The sweater's red and green because it's the eye struggles to focus on it.
Okay.
Because they clash.
Is that like battleship camouflage? Do you know about that?
Go on.
This is a very, very odd tangent for a Nightmare on Elm Street thing. Battleship camouflage. If you look at battleships, they often have like just mad shapes and patterns on them of like green and grey and blue.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that it means it's basically impossible to tell what kind of vessel it is from a distance. Okay. Because it's not necessarily that it completely masks it in waves and stuff. It's just that at a distance it makes it really difficult to make out the edges and make out guns and whatever. Okay. So it has all these like contrasting colours. There's a battleship actually parked in the Thames at the moment for anyone who's docked in the Thames for anyone who lives in London. And it's got this on there, and it's quite fascinating to look at. Yeah, but it's almost like that, I guess, in that it's unsettling to look at because you can't focus on it, as you said.
I had no idea you were such a fan of battleships. Listeners need to know, when I said that, Chris just spun his chair around and began searching things online. I have no idea why. So I'm now looking at a picture of this. That's so weird.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, look it up, everyone. Battleship design.
Yeah, it's dazzle camouflage.
Whoa. I mean, the fun was give it away.
But at a distance, you'd be like, what is that? Is that 7 boats?
An armada.
Yeah.
Everyone jump overboard.
If you have a really long boat, you should paint an armada on the side so it looks like an armada, like sailing perpendicular.
How to survive naval.
Any naval officers, please get in touch.
Yes. Okay, going on with this email. In the first film, Nancy watches The Evil Dead, tried to stay awake.
Yeah.
And then that began a back and forth because in the Evil Dead, there's a Hills Have Eyes poster, which is Wes Craven's.
Right. Okay.
And then etc. It keeps going between movies. I won't bore you with the details. If you're eagle-eyed, you could probably find it. The boiler room scenes were shot in the basement of a jail that was condemned days afterwards due to asbestos.
God.
This was Johnny Depp's first film role, and enough about him. Wes was pretty salty during production of the first film because of several changes that were made. He wanted Freddy to be a child molester, not a murderer. This from the man who made Last House on the Left.
King of good taste, Wes Craven.
Yeah. My family had given up on me because I made a movie about a rape. So I decided to make a movie about a child molester.
Yeah, but he's not real. I mean, he was real, but now he's dead. It's a film about a dead child molester.
But he does try to kill you because he got troubled man.
I love the fact that he's called Wes Craven.
I know, yeah. He sounds like a villain in a horror movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's that.
Yeah.
And that earlier when I said he's only in the movie for 7 minutes, that's another fact that Chelsea has given us as well. Okay. So thank you, Chelsea, for being my researcher for this episode.
Exactly.
Next
Was
week
that
is
unwitting that you were like typing up your notes going,
yeah.
Oh, I've just remembered that he's
amazing fact.
Can't believe just the things that you find in your old brain box. It's amazing.
Half-remembered fact from years ago. Yeah. Thanks, Chelsea. Next week's Alien 3, so please do send in notes on that for me. And of course, if you've got any thoughts on the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise as it comes up, email us at HowToSurviveShow@gmail.com.
Yeah.
We will read them out on air and be like, oh, that's not very good, is it? Because, and then we'll pick it apart with logic. Yeah. And then make fun of you for emailing us and getting involved in our podcast.
Yeah. And if that doesn't sound like an attractive proposition,
just
I don't know what it is.
Kieran has not been in touch. We banned him.
So way back in the day, we covered this film before, and as is always the case, we exhaustively and conclusively detailed how to survive it.
Yeah.
But did you have any thoughts this time around?
I haven't died from it since then.
Yes, exactly.
Have you?
Neither have I. No.
I don't think anyone has.
No. So we're helping people the world over.
Yeah, it's good to do an updated version for 2018 though.
Yeah, any more thoughts did you have?
Yeah, first is why keep his glove, right? So when she's like, Fred Krueger was a child, what the fuck he was, killer.
Yeah.
And we burned him to death. This is his glove. Yeah. And she gets it out.
Let me get it out of the furnace where I keep it.
Yeah.
This metal object.
Yeah.
Hope that furnace isn't on.
Wait, what?
Isn't that where she has it?
No, she's sat in the kitchen. She's like drunk, telling her the story. And she's just like got wrapped in a tea towel.
Oh, I see.
And she's like, oh, here's Freddy Krueger's glove.
Okay.
Which, right, that's... Why do you have that? A number of reasons, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the case was thrown out on a technicality? Mm-hmm. I worry that
the technicality
having the murder weapon taken away, like, the police don't have it. They wouldn't give it back to him, for sure.
No. Well, so we've got no reason to... Yeah. So has she, because her husband's chief of the police.
Yeah. So
did she like say to him, next time you're in the evidence locker, I'd really like, as a souvenir of that time that we killed the child murderer, I'd really like that horrible razor glove that he used that's still got the dried blood of all of his previous victims on it?
Well, I assume they didn't take it as evidence and that she somehow came in to have it. Or when they went around to burn his like warehouse down, she was like, hold on.
Yeah,
before
or like
you throw that Molotov,
out of the ash,
grab something.
It was the only thing that survived out of the ashes.
Yeah, leather glove with knives. And the point is, there's no reason for you to have that. It's not like you're going to go, like if they've had a photo of like an event, I'd be like, where does the time go? a souvenir. You go on holiday, you bring back a little souvenir.
Yeah, you of things you want to remember.
Yeah,
but they specifically want this to
Yeah,
be forgotten.
There's literally a campaign of silence.
Yeah. So you're right. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
She's an idiot. I did some research on some. I'll admit it.
Yeah.
Some very light research
Okay.
on dreamless sleep. And
Okay.
the only way of inducing dreamless sleep is through anesthesia.
Yeah.
But it's not a particularly great survival tip, given that anesthesia is quite a traumatic experience for the body. And you're basically subjecting yourself to physical trauma just to avoid dreaming.
Right. So, risk reward is what you're saying. I mean, if you're going to, I dare say, a gloved fist made of knives through the heart might be more physical trauma than some anesthesia.
That's true, but I think you can die from,
Too much
being
anesthesia.
under anesthesia too many times in quick succession. And also, I'm pretty sure that people who are under anesthesia, they don't come out like, God, I'm awake after that. Yeah.
How invigorating.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're not like striding out of hospital like, I'm full of the joys of spring. So much energy.
Yeah. I'll never sleep again.
Yeah. But I mean, my other thought was similar to yours in that why keep Freddie a secret?
Well, that's my next note, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, the truth will eventually out, as we see in the film.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is causing trauma through repression.
Yeah.
By I mean, like, not only in the children, although I think that plays more into the remake, doesn't it? Because it turns out that the protagonists were abused by him and have... Anyway, in this one, we see the trauma in the mother because she's an alcoholic and she's drinking to forget the fact that she burned a man alive.
Yeah, and as you know from BoJack Horseman, we inherit our parents' trauma in ways we will never understand.
Yes, exactly. So none of the campaign of silence, as you put it, doesn't stop Freddie. So they shouldn't do that. It's a bad idea. And I get the legal issues about, a gang of people burning a man to death.
Yeah.
But he was all but convicted of, child murder. Sorry. I noticed that no one has filed a missing persons report, as far as I can see.
For him.
No one's come looking for him.
I don't think he's got anyone looking
Exactly
out for him.
right. So is there a public interest in trying the killers of Freddy Krueger?
No, it's a let the dead bury the dead situation, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, what were your thoughts?
Well, mine was more of a question. Like he obviously is known in the town because there's a song about him, which the kids all sing.
Right. Yeah.
And even Nancy sings it in the bath. She's like, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. It's that one, right? So he's known at least locally enough to be the subject of nursery rhymes.
Yeah.
So has no one gone, who is this Freddy we keep singing about?
Yeah.
Do you remember that when we were kids? We used to sing Freddy's coming for you. What's that
well,
about?
like people go to university and then they're going, oh, do you guys sing the Freddy song? The nursery rhyme. Do you remember singing that when you were a kid? And they're like, no, what are you talking about?
No.
And then they'd probably do some research, Freddy in Springwood, and find the stories.
Yeah.
Like whatever way you twist it, the truth's going to out one way or another.
Yeah.
And it's going to cause lasting damage.
I got one last quick one.
Yeah.
And it's for Nancy at the end. She gets duped. She gets pulled in like a real sucker.
Right.
Right, like an idiot. Right?
Yeah.
Because she comes out and her mum's like, oh, everything's fine. Like, it's literally, if you were like looking out for a false sense of security, this is it.
Because like the sun's shining, birds are chirping in the trees, all that sort of thing. So you're saying...
Well, the car pulls up and they're off to school.
Yeah.
Right? And her friends who were dead are in the car. Right?
That should be clue number 1.
Who's driving?
Yeah, Glenn is.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Yeah. He lives opposite.
Yeah.
So you should
why is he driving?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, he's gone to pick up the others.
But why has he gone there? That's a terrible route.
That is a
it doesn't make any
route.
sense.
Unless the school is closer to Glenn's house than it is to the other two's house.
Well, so he's got to ping out, pick them up,
Yeah,
and come back.
and then Nancy's come out to meet them. Maybe.
That's preposterous.
What would be better though is if the people on the fringes drove and picked up everyone on their way, and then save on petrol, and save the planet as well.
Because she'd go, hold on, why didn't you pick me up first? That's weird. And then he'd be like, oh,
quick, let me shut the door on my hand so I wake up.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's a fair point. So it's been good, I think, to go back. It's been a good exercise. Are you looking forward to part 2?
No. Are you?
I sort of am.
Just because I'm
curious. Yeah. So
we haven't done it, I think, for this reason.
I'm looking forward to part 2. I'm not looking forward to like part 6.
Yeah.
So
who directed part 2? Chris there just closing his tab on Battleship Camouflage.
That would be Chuck Russell.
Oh, yeah. What else has he done?
I don't know. I'm not going to look it up.
Not going to click that button.
No, because I'll have to close another 5 Dazzle Camouflage tabs.
Yeah, that's your Dazzle Camouflage tablet.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah,
dedicated specifically for that.
Yeah,
and it could never be sullied with movie research.
Yeah. How big is it? You ask me. Nobody knows. So as we mentioned earlier, some people have been in touch, and a couple of people have been in touch on Twitter. At HowToSurvivePod is the Twitter handle if you want to write in. And someone who's done just that is Mark Tucker, who is an OG, I think.
He's an OG, a day oneer.
Yeah. And he says, for your Nightmare on Elm Street tips for survival, I direct you to Al Herpin, Ty Ngok, and Paul Kern, who are world-famous insomniacs. Or have a fiddle about with your ventrolateral preoptic nucleus, as this may cause insomnia or narcolepsy.
Either or.
Yeah, risky, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so.
So thanks for that, Mark.
Cheers, Mark.
We'll have to look up those famous insomniacs in time for next week's episode, in time for part 2 of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Also in touch on Twitter is Frank.
Yeah, his name's not Frank on Twitter, but I think he's been in touch before and he called himself Frank then.
Yeah, so he says, great shout to choose Nightmare on Elm Street, one of the best, and they get super weird and wacky. Earliest horror memory is daring myself to look at the VHS cover, then getting nightmares just from that. That is powerful from Freddy Krueger, isn't it?
That's good marketing for it, because he gets you in your dreams.
Yes, that's right. Very appropriate. Are there any films that you remember, like even the cover freaking you out? Because there's one for me, and it's a super lame movie, but it's Jack Frost, which is like a
the kids one.
No,
right.
There's, I think, contemporaneously to the kids one, there's like a not kids one,
right?
Which is like a
the kids one is where the boy's father gets run over, I think, while building a snowman.
It's a car crash.
And then he
but he's not back in time to build a snowman, I think, with his son, like he'd promised.
So the kid makes it on his own.
Yeah.
And the father's spirit possesses the snowman.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. It's one of my mum's favourite films.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. This is the cover for the Jack Frost, which I always saw in the video rental place near where we grew up.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's basically just like a screaming, skeletal-looking snowman.
I was about to say that my video is from that same video place.
Okay.
Video Solent.
Right.
Where are they now?
Yeah.
They? Yeah, there were 2 of them. There was one in Hedge End as well, mate.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's a movie called Head of the Family.
Okay.
Which me and another friend of ours from school saw once, and I was mortified and still am. See if you can see why.
Upset the head and you're dead.
Yeah.
It's the remastered edition.
Yeah.
Someone cared enough to remaster it.
It is freaky as hell.
Yeah, it's like a sort of shrunken body with a old man's head strapped to it in a sort of, electric wheelchair contraption.
I'd be I don't know. I'm sort of
maybe at some point we should do
Head of the Family
and Jack Frost
back to back.
Yeah. We wouldn't go through them.
I think the problem with Head of the Family is it's made me feel so nauseous just looking at that cover.
Right.
And it's been baked into my mind as like
something to be feared.
Yeah. So it might genuinely upset me, even if
Right.
it's shit.
Okay.
So there you go. Yeah, I had an email here, Chris. We've had an email, some correspondence.
What's the email address again, Joe?
HowToSurviveShow@gmail.com.
Yeah, please get in touch if you've got any comments.
Maria has been in touch.
Hi, Maria.
Hello, Chris and Joe. Those get the names around the wrong way.
Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it?
I've just now listened to the Exorcist podcast.
Okay.
It was an amazing episode, mostly because of that rambling ending. One of you suggested that bonus episodes should be just that. You two talking about movies that you couldn't do regularly on the show. And she agrees, Chris. She agrees that. So there. She wants us to do basically bonus
Just
episodes.
generic movie review rambles
Yeah.
as bonus episodes. Well, it's something that we've mooted in the past. Maybe it is. I think in the past, the stumbling block on that has been where we record, because it was a long distance from our homes.
Yeah.
Although where we record now is a long distance from your home.
Yeah, not so much for you.
Not quite so much, no.
Yeah.
But we might be able to do that more often, I suppose.
We'll try and fit it in.
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing about How to Survive is there's a good gimmick.
Yeah. The thing is that
You can't really tell your friends, like, you can't really say there's a podcast where these guys talk about films, because that's
Yeah.
a bit too
it's
generic.
a bit generic, yeah. With the I mean, we'll definitely think about it next time we leave the mics running, leave the mics hot.
Yeah. Another email here from Liz.
Okay.
Hello, I've recently started listening to your podcast, and I've worked through a fair number of episodes while I've been doing a lot of driving lately.
Nice. Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you, Liz. She says,
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, she said they're a great way to spend the time.
Yeah.
And she's added a few movies to the watch list. I think she must be one of these people who listens before watching, which is a...
Well, she might mean that she's gone through the list and thought,
I want to watch this so I can hear what these two people think about
absolutely.
it. Yeah.
In many ways, it's like added value, isn't it, to
right.
some of the greats.
I've really enjoyed your reviews and wanted to say thanks for the hours of time. Oh, thank you so much, Liz, for your kind words.
That's very kind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She recommends funny horror movies, two of them which are Tucker and Dale versus Evil
Yeah.
and What We Do in the Shadows.
Okay. Yeah, we've had these suggested before, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think the plan, maybe not in this, we basically block our episodes into 10 when we plan them.
Yeah.
So we've got the next 10 planned out. But I think after that, we've got Shaun of the Dead and Tucker and Dale versus Evil
Yeah, I
coming
think
up.
so. Yeah.
probably-
I do love the premise of Tucker and Dale versus
Yeah.
Evil, which is it's like
It's
a
a
hillbilly.
misunderstanding.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
hillbilly horror, but the hillbillies are just accidentally doing things that look
Yeah.
really creepy,
Yeah.
and it's from their perspective.
It's really good.
Yeah.
And What We Do in the Shadows is good as well. It's just like
Yes.
hapless vampires.
Yeah, I
As,
love what we do in the shadows.
Yeah. Anyway, she says she thinks we'll have fun covering them, and thanks again.
Thank you very much, Liz.
Thank you, Liz.
So thank you very much for joining us once again to pick over A Nightmare on Elm Street. Next week, as Joe explained earlier, it is because we love franchises so much.
Yeah, this is
famously.
We Love Franchises season.
Yeah, we are going back to whatever it was called when I looked it up last week for the quiz, like Zekulai 173.
right. Yeah.
Region of Space, because we're covering Alien 3.
Starring Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, directed by David Fincher.
Yes, his first feature film.
Yeah, from 1992. So if you haven't seen Alien 3, you've got a week starting now to go away and watch it. And don't forget to send your thoughts to HowToSurviveShow@gmail.com or tweet them at HowToSurvivePod. Also, if you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast. And I know, I listen to loads of podcasts as well, and they all have this at the end, and it's annoying, and you just like tune it out. But no, this time you're going to be different, because maybe you've been thinking, I really like it if they did the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. That's my favourite horror franchise. Or, I've been wanting to watch them, and now I can watch them along with them.
Yeah. Do you know
So
what?
now's the time.
Right.
Now's the time to take your phone out
Yeah.
and go leave us a lovely little review saying how much you enjoy it. Because it means the world to us, helps us find new listeners, and ultimately, that's what we want.
You know, This American Life?
Yeah.
Ira Glass at the end of that plays like a recorded message with some like guy like, please rate and review. It's not even Ira Glass.
Yeah,
it's
the
like,
vocal fry
Yeah.
This American Life guy.
like, please rate and review us on iTunes.
Yeah.
And it would be really good.
Yeah.
The thing is, we don't have the facilities to hire a vocal fry guy. We have to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
It really does make a difference. They've got like 20,000 reviews.
Yeah.
We've got
if you're thinking,
not that many.
I must leave a review for This American Life, don't. They won't care.
No.
We've got about 100
Yeah.
reviews ever.
I screenshot them and send them to Chris. That's how
Yeah.
infrequent they are. I'm like, wow, look.
It's like getting flowers or something.
It is, yeah.
I mean, if you want to get us flowers as well, then that's fine. Thank you very much for listening. Next week, Alien 3. And until then, sweet dreams.
Do you know, we came in on the music and we're going to end on it as well. It's the weirdest song ever.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's
Yes.
by 312. It's
Yeah.
Nightmare from the end credits of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
So let's enjoy that in its entirety, I think, this time. All the way back to 1984 with Nightmare. Goodbye.